The Lakers organization just made a decision that could change everything we thought we knew about this season and potentially the next 3 years of championship competition in Los Angeles. Welcome back to Lakers News Fan Report, where I bring you the most detailed, honest analysis of every major development surrounding our beloved purple and gold. I'm here to give you the inside view on the moves, the plans, and the vision that's shaping this team's future. Today, I need to walk you through something that's been growing behind the scenes. Something that shows the kind of bold thinking that championship organizations have when they see their chance to win is right now. Stay with me through this whole breakdown, because what I'm about to reveal will make you rethink everything you thought you knew about how this front office is looking at the rest of this season and beyond. I've covered this team through championships and letdowns, through rebuilds and reloads, and I've learned that the moves that define times often start with talks that seem impossible at first. The greatest teams in NBA history share one common thing: they're willing to look at every possibility, no matter how crazy it might seem at first, when they see a chance to make their odds of winning a championship as good as possible. That's exactly what's happening right now in Los Angeles. And I need you to understand the full background before I reveal the details, because this isn't just about one player or one trade. This is about the Lakers seeing that LeBron James is still playing at a superstar level at 39 years old. Anthony Davis is in his best years, and the other players, while good, might not be enough to beat the best teams in the Western Conference when it matters most. Let me start by saying where we are right now. The Lakers are competing. They're winning games. And they're showing moments of the team that everyone expected them to be when the season started. But here's the honest truth that we need to face. In a conference that includes Denver with their championship history, Phoenix with their star power, the Clippers when healthy, and new threats like Oklahoma City and Minnesota, being good isn't enough anymore. The room for mistakes has gotten almost to nothing, and chances to win championships don't stay open forever, especially when your best player is almost 40 years old. I'm not being negative. I'm being real about the competitive situation and what it takes to win it all in today's NBA. The front office understands this truth better than anyone. And that understanding has led them to look at possibilities that might seem crazy at first, but make total sense when you break down the basketball logic and the timing of the plan. I've been studying the situation across the league, looking at contract situations, looking at team chemistry, and following the patterns that usually come before major team changing. And everything I'm seeing points toward the Lakers being in a place to make a move that could completely change the championship race. Before I get into the details of what's actually happening, I need to set things up by talking about what the Lakers need most right now. They need consistent outside shooting that defenses have to respect at the highest level. They need a player who can create offense by himself when the system stops working in playoff situations. They need someone whose pull alone opens up chances for LeBron and AD to work with more space. They need a proven winner who understands what it takes to fight for championships and brings that mindset every single night. Most importantly, they need someone who makes them better right away, without needing years of growth or getting used to things. Now let me talk about what's happening in Golden State, because that situation is key to understanding why a talk that seemed impossible 6 months ago has suddenly become something worth looking at seriously. The Warriors are struggling in ways the team hasn't experienced in over 10 years. They're currently fighting just to stay in playoff position, and the way the team is built isn't working the way they pictured. Stephen Curry, at 36 years old, is still playing at an incredibly high level, averaging over 26 points per game while shooting 44% from three-point range. He's beating getting old, just like LeBron, proving that amazing skill and basketball smarts can make up for physical slowing down. But here's where things get complicated for Golden State. They made moves this season expecting to keep their championship chance open. But those moves haven't turned into wins the way they thought. They're locked into big salary promises that limit what they can do. Their young players haven't grown into steady helpers fast enough. And most importantly, they're wasting what could be the last superstar years of one of the greatest players in NBA history by having a team that might not even get out of the first round if they do manage to reach the playoffs. The Warriors organization faces a decision that no team wants to face, but every organization finally must. Do they keep trying to build around Curry with the current group, knowing that each year makes the chance of success smaller? Or do they admit that their championship chance with this particular group has closed and make the hard choice to turn toward rebuilding for the future? That second option, as painful as it would be for Warriors fans, opens up possibilities that seemed unthinkable just months ago. This brings me to what the Lakers have been thinking about, and I want you to really focus on what I'm about to explain, because the effects go far beyond just this season. The Lakers front office has put together a proposal idea that would bring Stephen Curry to Los Angeles. I'm going to let that sink in for a moment, because I know how huge that sounds. Stephen Curry, the greatest shooter in NBA history, the player who changed how basketball is played, possibly joining LeBron James and Anthony Davis in purple and gold. Now, before you say this is impossible, let me walk you through exactly why this makes sense from many angles and why talks about this have reached a level of seriousness that goes beyond normal guesswork. The money part is complicated, but can work. Curry is making $50.7 million this season, with his contract going through 2026-27. That's an enormous number, but the Lakers can build a package that works under the salary cap rules, while also giving Golden State pieces that make sense for their timeline. The proposed package would likely focus on D'Angelo Russell, whose contract gives big salary matching ability. Russell is making $18.7 million this season and has been productive, but he's not the difference between the Lakers being a championship team or coming up short. Adding Rui Hachimura at $17 million gives extra matching salary, while giving Golden State a young forward with potential who fits their growth timeline. The Lakers would also need to include future first-round picks, likely many choices to make this proposal good enough for Golden State to seriously think about. Let me break down why this makes basketball sense for both teams. Starting with the Lakers' point of view, imagine the spacing that Curry gives in a lineup featuring LeBron and AD. Defenses would face impossible choices on every possession. Do you leave Curry to give extra rim protection against LeBron's drives? That's leaving the greatest shooter ever open from 30 feet. Do you trap LeBron on the outside? That's giving Curry chances to attack closeouts or move for open threes. Do you focus defensive attention on AD in the post? That's letting Curry and LeBron run pick-and-roll plays that would be almost unstoppable. The offensive efficiency this Lakers team would create would be historically the best ever. You're talking about three players who can create high-percentage shots for themselves and others, all working in a system made by a coaching staff that knows how to get the most out of talent. The regular season would basically become a formality, because this core would beat almost every matchup. But more importantly, in playoff basketball, where games slow down and execution matters most, having three real closers who can score alone or within the flow of the offense gives you answers to any defensive plan. Curry's game has changed over his career in ways that make him even more valuable now than he was earlier. He's become one of the best off-ball movers in NBA history, always moving and finding angles that create open looks. That skill set works perfectly with LeBron's playmaking, because LeBron sees the floor better than almost anyone who's ever played. And giving him a target like Curry running through screens and cutting backdoor would be devastating. The chemistry between superstar players who understand winning basketball grows quickly because they see immediately how to use each other's strengths. From Golden State's point of view, as painful as it would be to move on from Curry, this proposal gives them something they really need: money flexibility and draft picks to rebuild properly, but not bad enough to get top draft picks. Trading Curry, as heartbreaking as it sounds for their fan base, lets them speed up a rebuild around younger pieces while respecting what he's meant to that team by sending him to a situation where he could win another championship. The draft picks the Lakers would send become incredibly valuable for Golden State's future. They could use those choices to either draft young talent or package them in more trades to get players who fit their new timeline. Russell and Hachimura give the Warriors productive veterans who could be traded again for more pieces or kept as temporary players while they develop their next core. This kind of plan to rebuild is how teams return to competition faster than organizations that try to stay competitive while their championship chance closes. I know what some of you are thinking. Curry is a Warriors player for life. He's meant to finish his career in Golden State. This would never actually happen, and I understand that feeling completely. The emotional connection between Curry and that organization runs incredibly deep. But we've seen this story before in NBA history. Legendary players reach points where their teams can't give them real championship chances anymore, and decisions get made based on basketball reality rather than feelings. Kobe thought about leaving. Jordan went to Washington. LeBron left Cleveland twice. Kareem made his way out of Milwaukee. The league's history is full of team icons playing somewhere else. The timing of this possible move matters enormously. Curry has 2.5 years left on his contract after this season. That's enough time to make many championship runs with the Lakers while he's still playing at this level. If the Warriors wait another year or two, Curry's trade value goes down, and the Lakers' championship chance with LeBron possibly closes. Both teams have reason to act now rather than waiting, which is why these talks have gone past first-looking conversations. Let me talk about the big, obvious problem regarding how Lakers fans should feel about possibly trading Russell and Hachimura. Both players have helped positively this season, and I'm not saying they aren't important to the team, but we're talking about the chance to get Stephen Curry, a top 15 player of all time who's still playing at an all-NBA level. You make that move 100 times out of 100 if it's actually available. The emotional connection to current players can't get in the way of the chance to add someone who changes your championship probability from possible to likely. The practical problems of adding Curry into this Lakers system would be small because of his skill set and basketball smarts. He doesn't need the ball in his hands to be effective, which means LeBron can still work as the main playmaker. He's played next to other stars all through his career and understands how to make his impact as big as possible within different offensive setups. His defensive limits are real but manageable when you surround him with AD as the main rim protector and length on the outside. The Lakers coaching staff has shown they can put in defensive plans that hide individual weaknesses while making the team as effective as possible. The mental effect of this move would go beyond just the Lakers team. Every other competing team in the league would immediately look again at their championship odds because a Lakers team with LeBron, AD, and Curry becomes the clear favorite to win it all. That's not an overstatement. That's a real look at what three players of that level do when they're all focused on the same goal. We saw what happened when LeBron and AD won the championship in 2020. Now imagine adding the greatest shooter ever to that mix. The Western Conference playoff situation would change dramatically. Denver would still be strong, but their defensive plan that depends on protecting the paint while forcing outside shots becomes much less effective when you're dealing with Curry shooting from 30 feet. Phoenix would struggle to match up offensively, despite their own star power. The Clippers, when healthy, would give interesting matchups, but lack the depth to keep up a 7-game series. Every other team would basically be playing for position because the Lakers would become the clear championship favorite. I want to be clear about the real worries this move would create. The Lakers would be giving up almost all their remaining depth to make this happen money-wise. The team around the Big Three would be made of minimum contract players and whatever exceptions the team could use to add pieces. That's a gamble that only works if the star players stay healthy all through the season and playoffs. We've seen what happens when teams go all in with top-heavy teams and injuries ruin everything. That risk is real and worth saying. The other worry involves how long this championship chance would stay open. LeBron is 39, Curry is 36, and while both are beating normal aging, getting old always wins in sports history. You're basically looking at a 2 to 3 year window maximum, which means if something goes wrong in year 1, you've really limited your opportunities. But here's my answer to that worry. Championship chances don't stay open forever, no matter what choices you make. The Lakers have a chance right now with this current LeBron to win many championships, and adding Curry makes that probability as big as possible, even if it makes the timeline shorter. What this all comes down to is what the organization believes and how much risk they will take. Careful teams protect their future draft picks and keep team flexibility. Championship-focused organizations see that chances to add game-changing talent don't come around often, and when they do, you have to be willing to pay the price needed. Do you think this move makes us the championship favorite right away? What worries do you have about the depth sacrifices we'd be making? Your opinion matters to me, and I read every single comment. So, let me know exactly what you're thinking about this possible huge trade. If you want to stay ahead of every major development with the Lakers, if you want analysis that goes deeper than surface headlines, make sure you're subscribed to Lakers News Fan Report. Hit that notification bell, because in this league, things move fast, and I'll be here breaking down every move the moment it happens.